Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to From the Nosebleeds. I'm Joey Gunnar here with Trent Finnegan. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe before we get into the show. The Nuggets are having their toughest battle as we've seen so far in the season. Tonight, they are playing one of the best opponents in the West and one of the best opponents in the entire league in the Houston Rockets. This will be a really fun game to watch. Trent, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, and I'm stoked for some Nuggets basketball. And it's been a weird Nuggets week. You know, that Bulls game, we thought that should have been a win. They sleptwalked through that one and came out with the loss. And then that Pelicans game was a little closer than it should have been on Wednesday. And now, hey, better wake up because it's time to play the Houston Rockets, who are big and are going to do everything they can to bully and out-physical this Nuggets team. And then obviously we know they got the great Kevin Durant lighting it up from deep, lighting them up from the mid-range, scoring all these points. Should be one great game tonight.
Yeah, and they've got one of the tallest lineups in the league. So this is one of those games where you might see Payton Watson get a lot of minutes, Cam Johnson getting a lot of minutes as a starter, Nikola Jokic might not play as much as you would think he would because Jonas Valanciunas is honestly a better defender against some players like Alperen Sengun, who's baby Jokic. Just watch those flops on that guy. You know that he likes to flail his arms around. But this is another NBA Cup game too, and the Nuggets are top the West Group C, which if you would have told me that they would be top of this group after losing to the worst team in it, in the Trailblazers, I would call you crazy. But right now, they have a chance to get a big lead up against the best, second best, because OKC's in the group as well, the second best group or team in that group tonight. I like the NBA Cup. I know a lot of people don't. But these games are fun to watch. I don't care what you think about them. Those courts are fun. They're fun to watch. There's a different type of energy around it. I know that it's not as important as the finals. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be something that we can watch in November and December that's a little bit more fun and brings something new to the game. Am I alone in this? Do you like the NBA Cup, Trent?
I think it's fun, and I think my favorite part is the point differential aspect of it, how that's such an important tiebreaker, because you see these games where, hey, if it's a 30-point blowout with 5 minutes left, you know, you got the bench in, you got Zeke Naji in the game and in a normal game, and you're just trying to get to the end of the night and go home and whatnot. But in these games, because the point differential is so important, you got these guys playing like it's the playoffs down until the final stretch, throwing these full court passes to score as quickly as possible. It's just little wrinkles like that I think is – it really hit on the spot. Like I said, this isn't the finals, but it's a different way to be competitive in November, December. And I don't think it's too bad. You know, some of the courts, I will say, like Minnesota's court, where the green is literally reflecting onto their face, maybe could have gone with a different design. But for the most part, I think the NBA Cup's definitely a fun thing.
Yeah, no, I love that point differential aspect. I mean, when else are you going to see players who are up by 30 in a game shooting three-pointers with 10 seconds left on the clock? I love that kind of stuff. People get mad about that in regular season games, but that's the kind of stuff that matters in these NBA Cup games, and I think that it brings a whole new aspect and a whole new range of fun into the viewing experience of this game. But back to talking about the Rockets, just this matchup. This will be the hardest matchup of the year, and I touched on how they're one of the tallest groups in the league, but they've got some real good players. Alperen Sengun, I said baby Jokic. He plays very similar to Jokic. Obviously nowhere near the talent level, but of course they've got Kevin Durant, one of the all-time best shooters. He can shoot from any spot on the court. I mean, talk about a pure scorer. I love Kevin Durant. I don't want to sit here and say that I don't. He's one of the best players of all time. Amen Thompson, incredible player. This is going to be a tough defensive battle for the Nuggets going into Houston, playing this game. It's going to be hard.
And my biggest thing is going to be the rebounding game for this, because, and we saw it in that Bulls game on Monday. I think part of the reason why the Nuggets lost that game is because they got lazy on the defensive glass late in that game, and the Bulls kept getting second chance opportunities. And you just mentioned tallest lineup in the league. So the Nuggets are third in the league in rebound differential. They, on average, they get 6.2 more rebounds per game than their opponent. That's pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. The Houston Rockets, get 12.3 rebounds more on average. First in the league by a mile. They're at 12.3. Second place, Charlotte is at 6.6. And then Denver's at 3. 12 plus 12.3 in the rebound differential is insane. And their philosophy is kind of, I like to compare it to hockey with the pucks on net, where teams just throw pucks to the net and, hey, let's get a tip and, hey, let's get a rebound. The Rockets, they don't care if they're taking a bad shot that might miss, because they know they're going to get that offensive rebound and get a layup right there. So Jokic is going to have to really be physical. Probably going to see more Jonas Valanciunas tonight. Maybe we'll get some more double big lineup. I know Adelman has sprinkled it this season, but even the wings, Payton Watson's got to get on the glass. We know Aaron Gordon's good at rebounding. He's got to get in. Cam Johnson's got to get in on the glass. It can't just be Jokic getting 15 rebounds tonight. It's got to be everybody in the paint. And, you're probably not going to get as many transition buckets, and you're going to have to win more of a half-court game. But here's the thing. The Rockets don't have Fred VanVleet. He tore his ACL in the preseason or before the season started. He's out for the year. So the Rockets, they've been using Amen Thompson as their point guard. And he's a good player, but he's not a natural point guard. He's still figuring it out. The Nuggets are better than the Rockets in half-court situations. Their offense running that Jokic-Murray pick and roll, getting Gordon involved, getting Johnson involved. They're better than the Rockets at that. So the key to winning tonight is going to be crash the defensive glass, and you're not going to score in transition, but then win in the half court on the other end.
Yeah, and they're not going to score in transition for how good defensively Houston is, but also the Nuggets are without their best transition player in Christian Braun. And I like that you said that about the rebounds. It's a crazy differential that the Rockets have. That not only goes to show how good they are with their tall lineups in and how they can just corral as many rebounds as they want, but also they rank number 1 in the league for defensive efficiency. So you're looking at the net ratings for offense and defense. The Rockets are number 1 in defense. The Thunder are number 1 in offense. The Nuggets are sitting right in that middle area. They're number 3 net, I believe, from the most recent graph that I saw. So they're really good at being both offensively efficient and defensively efficient. This is not a team. The Nuggets are not a team that are going into Houston tonight scared about what Houston can do. They're going in ready for a challenge. This is the first real challenge of the Nuggets season. And we're in the same season where a week ago, the Nuggets were without Cam Johnson and Christian Braun up against the healthy Minnesota Timberwolves, who have been the thorn in the Nuggets side for the past 2 years. So this being a challenge is a really good thing for the Nuggets. And we know how the Nuggets are. They play down to their opponent's capabilities. They play down to them. That's what they did against the Pelicans. That's what they did against the Bulls. And the Bulls got lucky and ended up beating the Nuggets. The Pelicans were only lost by 7 in a game where they were down by 19 in the fourth quarter. That just shows how they played down to their opponents. They weren't corralling those rebounds. Today, they're going to play down to their opponent again. They are. Because the Nuggets are a better crafted team than the Houston Rockets, and they're going to play down to them, and it's going to be a battle, and it's not going to be a game where you're seeing a blowout on either side. You're going to see a hard-fought game all the way through the end. I'm so excited to see what this team looks like going out against a competition like this tonight. It's going to be a fun watch.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you, and I hope we get a nice Jokic, Kevin Durant duel. I think that would be the cherry on top for a fun little NBA Cup game. And it's big stake. Essentially, the loser of this game is eliminated. I know it doesn't really matter that much, but you have 2 teams at the top of this group, and their Nuggets are 2-1, Rockets are 2-1. Everyone in this group is 2-1. And the Nuggets are at the top because their point differential is plus 23. The Rockets are next because they're plus 13. The Warriors are minus 20, 1-1. Everyone's 1-1. I'm misreading that. But still, the Nuggets and the Rockets are right there at the top because of their point differential. So this is an important one. And even if it gets out of hand, no matter who's winning, people are gonna be competing to the end because of that point differential aspect we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And just before we finish up this segment, I love going into the points, rebounds, and assist category on ESPN in every pregame matchup. The leader in points for the Rockets is Kevin Durant with 25.5. That's beaten by Nikola Jokic, 29.1. Rebounds, Alperen Şengün, different player for the Rockets, 10.4 rebounds. Nikola Jokic, 13.2 rebounds per game. Assists. Alper Şengün again. Good. He's on 2 of the lists. He made 2 of the top items for the team. 7.4 rebounds. That's great. Nikola Jokic, 11.1 rebounds. Can we just, again, like, we got to do this every chance that we get because greatness like this doesn't come around often. Nikola Jokic is averaging a 30-point, 13 rebound, 11 assist, triple-double. Those are his averages.
Not too bad.
Not
too bad.
I'll take it. You know what? I'll take that, Nikola Jokic. That's an okay season from you so far. What he does is just insane. There are always those stats that come around where it's like prime Shaq was averaging 28 point whatever points. John Stockton at one point averaged however many assists. Tim Duncan averaged 10.5 rebounds. If Nikola Jokic did that, his averages would go down. Steph Curry in his MVP season, if he shot what Steph Curry shot from the 3-point range that season, his averages would go down. So I don't care what team the Nuggets are playing. This is a game where they are likely going to win because of what every player on this team can do when surrounded by Nikola Jokic. Very exciting. That game is at 7:30 p.m. Tonight, so it'll be a very fun watch. Make sure you're tuning on to that one. Group play, wrapping up the NBA Cup coming to an end. They're going to have that big tournament in mid-December, so keep your eyes on that. See where the Nuggets end up falling into that category. But let's move on. If we're talking about falling, let's talk about the CU Buffs. They are playing their last home game of the season. Finally, the CU Buffs' terrible season, the season from hell, is coming to an end. I'm very excited. I know you're probably excited to not have to watch the Buffs anymore.
Yeah, it's they just need to get to next year and build around Julian Lewis. But this could be a good game. You know, you got Arizona State, who just got ranked 25th in the latest college football playoff poll. They only have 2 conference losses, so they are still in it. Texas Tech has 1 conference loss. BYU has 1 conference loss. They seem like, or they are head and shoulders above the rest of this conference. So if they run the table, then that's the Big 12 championship. But if one of them were to slip, Arizona State's still got 2 losses. Utah's got 2 losses. Houston's got 2 losses. Arizona State's got 2 losses. Cincinnati's got 2 losses. So you have 4 teams knocking on the doorstep. And obviously they need a break to go their way. But Arizona State knows that they have 0 margin for error. They need to win every game. So they're going to come in hungry. Well, meanwhile, you have this Buffs team who's, what are they playing for? Playing for pride? They haven't shown any pride. There's been no pride.
That's when a team is most dangerous, though.
If they were playing for pride, they wouldn't have let up 50 points in back-to-back weeks and gotten embarrassed in back-to-back weeks. So this team has showed that they're not playing for pride. So I don't know what they're playing for. And now they do have Julian Lewis under center. That's different. We saw him against West Virginia 2 weeks ago. He's a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. I think the big thing in this game is Arizona State is missing their starting quarterback, Sam Leavitt. And his backup is an old friend for Buffs Nation, Jeff Sims, who started at quarterback for Nebraska in the 2023 game, where he was 9 for 15 with 106 yards and a pick. And he lost 2 fumbles as well. He was terrible in that game, and he's the reason why CU won that game so handedly. This year around, Sims is a little better. You know, he's only completing 55% of his passes, but he's a much better runner, and we know how bad CU is against running quarterbacks. 2 games ago against Iowa State, he had 29 carries for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. 7.9 yards per carry, and he's still at 177 passing yards in that game. Last week against West Virginia, he had 207 passing yards, 81 rushing yards. So they're going to lean into this Jeff Sims run game a little bit, and CU hasn't shown anything that they'll have an answer to it, and you got a defense who's been unmotivated in recent weeks. I cannot believe I'm saying this in 2025, but Jeff Sims could pose a huge challenge to the Buffs this weekend.
Well, I mean, honestly, at this point, I've reverted back to somebody who's talking about the Buffs too. I'm just going to be a fan of the team. I'm just like, that's the best way to save my mental health. Just be a fan. Like, I feel like I would actually deal better with them losing as a fan than I do when they lose and I'm going to come on here and talk about it. I'm going to this game tomorrow. I'm not going to pay any attention to what actually happens on the field. I'm going to go sit up in the stands, hang out a little bit, tailgate, have some fun up at Folsom. That's my goal for this game. Just have some fun out in Boulder, because I don't know if there's going to be anything fun about watching this team get ran up and down a field by another running quarterback. It's going to make me sick if I really try to pay attention to it and just watch it happen, because I'm going to be like, it's so obvious what's going to happen. Like, you know what's going to happen. CU knows what's going to happen. And you're right. They don't have anything to play for. But just to counter that, that's when a team's most dangerous. That's when a team is the most dangerous, when they have nothing to lose, when they have nothing to play for, when they have a QB now, Julian Lewis, who's trying to set a new standard for what it's like to be above. Going into next season, Julian Lewis wants to be the leader. He's tasked with being the leader on this team. If he wants to be a leader, it starts now with a ranked game at home in your last home game of the season. This is what dreams are made of. I want to see people rush the field tomorrow because Julian Lewis throws for 350 yards and knocks off 25th ranked ASU, and they have no hopes for anything anymore in the Big 12 because they lost to the Buffs in the second to last game of the season. That would be fun to see.
Definitely. And again, Juju, he's shown he has got the arm talent. He's shown on the sidelines that he can be a leader. Like, this kid's 18 and he's doing stuff that their 50-year-old fifth-year quarterback who wasted everyone's time coming over here in the portal wasn't doing. So Lewis is awesome. He's got a great connection with Marion Miller. They've connected on a couple deep balls. Lewis has been putting the ball in phenomenal spots where Miller can really use that high pointing ability. That's been phenomenal to watch. So it's just building more chemistry for him, for Lewis, Miller, Joseph Williams, the rest of that receiver room, because you got a lot of young guys in that receiver room. And it sucks saying this at the end of every college football season, but you got to hope these kids stay around, because we know that those SEC schools are going to come with a nice big check. But game all about building chemistry. It's going to have to be done through the air. CU's got some injuries. DJ McKinney's out. Jordan Seaton's questionable. Makari Vickers is questionable. Jeremiah Brown is questionable. Brandon Davis-Swain is doubtful. Carter Stoutmeier's doubtful. Larry Johnson's doubtful. They somehow can't kick the injury bug yet, but again, odds aren't in their favor. Arizona State's a 7.5-point favorite. I think they cover that spread, but it's just like you're saying, just if Lewis can get some momentum, try and build some chemistry on that offense. But this is a solid ASU team.
Yeah, it is. It is. I would not be surprised, and it sucks to say because I love Amari Miller. That man would fit in LSU. That man would fit in LSU and Ohio State. I mean, he's a great receiver. He's a nationwide talent at receiver. He could be on any school, and probably, I mean, he could be a day 2 at the latest draft pick. We'll have to see 100%. What happens with him, but he is a great receiver. Hopefully he could stay at Boulder one more year. That's what I'm hoping. But let's move on. The Avs got a big win tonight and have last night and have extended their win streak to 7 after beating the Rangers 6-3. A great game all around for the Avs. Goals on goals on goals, peppering the net. 4 goals in the third period. Sure, some of them were empty netters, but wow. Oh my goodness, what a win.
And I think my biggest thing from that game last night is I'm looking at Cale Makar. Cale Makar had 9 shots on goal. He was really, really firing the puck in on the net. He had 2 goals and an assist, just a casual little 3-point night, no biggie. Nathan McKinnon, 2 goals, 1 assist. Ross Colton got a goal. Brock Nelson got a goal. It was just, again, goals on goals on goals. And the Rangers made it tough. And this is a team that's been very weird. They've been terrible at home at Madison Square Garden, but they've been great on the road. They're 9-3-1 on the road this season after last night's loss. But they kept it a game for a while. I mean, they jumped out to a 1-0 lead. They jumped out to a 2-1 lead. And then the Avs actually jumped out to a 3-2 lead. Rangers tie it, and then Avs rattle off 3 goals to push it from 3-3 to 6-3. So it was definitely a challenge for the Avalanche, but that was stars playing like stars. 2 3-point nights from Mackinnon and McCarr, and that's why this team is so dangerous because and Netjes had 3 assists. I didn't
As I
like
say,
McKinnon and McCarr were so
too.
good. I forgot to mention Netjes. That's how deep, that's how talented this team is. Their offense is going to be able to win them any game on any given night. And Scott Wedgwood has been great this season. He's not going to let up one goal on 35 shots in every single game. He had an .842 save percentage, 3 goals allowed on 19 shots. Was it his best game? No, it's fine. It's hockey. This happens. Goalies happen. Goalie games where you just don't have your stuff that night. But when you have an offense this good, when your goalie's not playing up to his best speed, your offense is able to just make it so that doesn't even matter. And that's why this team is so good and so dangerous.
Yeah. And tomorrow they get to take on an old friend, hopefully, in Justus Annunen when they take on the Nashville Predators. That would be fun to see Annunen in the net. But yeah, still have yet to lose at home. The Nuggets are the only one.
In regulation.
In regulation. Yeah, there's the asterisk there in regulation. However, the Nuggets, the last team I would have expected to be the loser, they lost their first game at home. I mean, the Avs, they might be the ones this year. They might be the ones to win it all. I mean, we got 3 teams. I actually saw a post on DraftKings on Instagram, and they are posting about how Denver, Colorado is Title Town USA because of what all 3 of those teams are doing. The Broncos looking like one of the Super Bowl favorites out there. Nuggets, of course, the second favorite behind OKC. And then the Avs, handedly favorites in the sports books to win the Stanley Cup this season. It would be a lot of fun to see. But let's move on to my favorite segment of the week, where we react to the polls that we put up on Monday. Take a look at this question. Which Broncos team has the better defense? Very fun question to ask. And clearly, people felt that one answer was almost 100% correct. 76% of the 1,863 votes we received said the 2015 no-fly zone team had a better defense than the 2025 team that we are witnessing right now. They don't have a nickname. Trent and I came up with a nickname. These guys, I think, is what we said. These guys. The nickname, it's going to take some work. We're going to work on it. But I thought that this was a fun question. And yes, I agree. 2015 had the better defense because their defense carried them to a Super Bowl win. Now, if it happens this year, we can have a very real conversation, especially if they break the sack record. Where would you answer on this question, Trent? What would you say?
I would say 2015, and I think the no-fly zone, the turnovers is the biggest thing. I mean, that team was a nightmare for quarterbacks, and this year's team is a nightmare for quarterbacks in a different way because the pass rush is making it so hard to get the ball off, but they haven't been getting the same amount of interceptions that 2015 team has had. And it's when that's the only knock you can have on a defense, that's not a bad thing, but it just shows how good 2015 was because they were getting the turnovers, they were getting the sacks, they were getting the stops in the middle. I think that the big thing with that team too that I think goes under the radar is the linebackers. You had Danny Trevathan and Brandon Marshall both had 100 tackles in the middle. And could that have been how this season shaped up if Dre Greenlaw played 14 or 15 games? Probably, and maybe that's what we'll see in the back half of the season or the home stretch of the season when he starts building some chemistry. But I think those two are the most underrated aspects of that defense because they didn't allow anything in the run game, which forced those opposing teams to pass. Sets up Chris Harris, Aqib Talib, all those guys to get those picks in the no-fly zone.
They were just a brick wall. You had to be a great quarterback if you wanted to air the ball out against that team. A lot of people in the comments felt the same way. Even the 2015 defense gives this 2025 defense flowers. It's closer than people are willing to admit. I'm still going no-fly zone. They have a nickname. Love that. They have the nickname. Hey, these guys. We said it. That's the nickname. These guys is the nickname. I think that's great. The 2015 team has given this 2025 defense its flowers, saying that, how great they are. But the no-fly zone, I mean, I don't know if the best defenses of all time really can compete very well with the no-fly zone. The no-fly zone is arguably the best defense of all time. I mean, just incredible players on that team. At Darius the Great 303, 2015, but they have the chance to change that. We got some games left, and if they make a playoff run and win another Super Bowl, then we can really have the debate. I love that. 100% correct. Kind of what I was saying beforehand. The 2015 defense led that Broncos team to the Super Bowl. This defense has the opportunity to do the same thing. And if they do go to the Super Bowl and end up winning it, which is a big if, I mean, I could see it happening, but it's a big if, then I would honestly probably sway 2025 just because of how hard the current landscape of the NFL is. Love that response, though. At Brushless Microt, I don't know if I got that right. Strange name. Statistically speaking, 2025 is better in just about every major statistical category other than rushing and turnovers. So he's leaning more towards 2025. I like that. I mean, talking about statistics, this team's really good. What do you think about that, Gunnar and Trent?
I think that's a good one. And I, like you said, the rushing and the turnovers. And here's the big thing, that the 2015 team had 14 interceptions. This year's team only has 6. However, this isn't a turnover thing, but this is pretty good. The 2015 team had 82 pass deflections through 16 games. This team already has 65 through 11 games. So even though they're not getting the same interception total, they're still really disrupting the passing game with the PBUs.
Yeah. I love that. I love that question. I love your guys' comments. As usual, every Friday we post a poll up, or every Monday, Every Monday we post a poll up on Twitter and YouTube. Go comment on those, answer the poll. We feature about 3 comments every Friday when we react to those polls. It's one of my favorite segments, if not my favorite, every week. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back with you on Monday. Enjoy the break this weekend. You don't have to stress about Broncos football. Tune into the Chiefs-Colts game. That's going to be the one you wanted to watch.
Root for the Colts.
And then root for the
Colts.
I disagree with you there on that one.
You got to knock Patrick. You got to knock Patrick Mahomes out, and then worry about the 1 seed.
I guess. I'm looking past the Chiefs. We've proven we're better than the Chiefs. Let's get the Colts out of the picture, and then we can talk. And then also, if you really want to get into football, watch the Browns versus Raiders game. Watch Shedeur throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's what I'm ready for. I can't wait to see Shedeur Sanders show off his wrist. I want to see it so bad. But it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Enjoy the long weekend. Until on Monday, we will see you guys all later. And have a great day, y'all. Bye.